In 3, 2. All right, it's time to talk with our featured guests, Dr. Alexandra Otto and Tim Otto. How's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. If you don't mind me asking, where are you guys located right now?
We're in Buda, Texas, which is about 15 minutes south of Austin. That's where our flagship primary office was started. And then we also have a location in South Austin, just kind of right close to downtown, but we're based out of the two areas.
Wow. So 2 locations in Austin.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Nice. Have you guys, this is such a silly question, but have you been to Salt Lake?
Yeah,
yes,
of course.
We have. We usually take our friends there to go.
It's actually state law. You have to go there if you've lived here over 6 months. So.
State law. You have to go. Yeah, Salt Lake. How far are you guys from Round Rock?
Well, about 15 minutes or about an hour and a half drive.
Okay. That's good.
One of the two, yeah. Round Rock is North Austin. I guess Round Rock could be as far north of Austin proper as we are south. If that gives you the idea.
Yeah.
You know anybody in Round Rock?
Yeah, we have some practices in Round Rock. I went to go try their Round Rock donuts one time, like that really, really big donut. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not familiar, but I'm sure it's like all food in Austin. It's amazing.
Yeah. Donuts are a food group in Texas, so there's a lot of donut shops. There's literally a donut place right next door to our office, which is good for us. But
great for a pediatric dental office.
Yeah, it's funny because when I moved to California, I was like, do y'all guys have kolaches for breakfast? And they're like, what are kolaches? And I was like, yeah, nobody here knows what.
Healthy for that.
Yeah, kolaches and Shipley's and no, but that's awesome. Austin has been growing. Austin has been growing a ton. Like everybody's leaving LA and everything like that to go out there. Have y'all seen that?
Oh, massively. I mean, we're in so Hayes County, which is where the practice is located, where the Butte location is. Fastest growing county, over 100,000 in North America in 2021.
Wow, man.
So explosive doesn't begin to cover it.
I know. I should have bought something out there.
Yes.
Hindsight,
man. Oh, but if you can, tell us a little bit about y'all's past, present. How'd y'all get to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long story. I mean, so Alex and I met when I was finishing up my international MBA at the University of Denver. She was in her first residency, a general residency at Denver Health. My career took us down to the DFW area where Alex started to work as a pediatric or as a general dentist seeing only pediatric patients. I was a national sales manager and it was traveling over 150 days a year. We both decided that wasn't the type of life that we wanted for our future family whenever that may happen. So we kind of had the idea of combining Alex's amazing skill as a dentist with my limited knowledge as a businessman and decided to start our own thing. So Alex applied for residency and got accepted to the NYU Langone program up in Alaska. So we moved to Alaska for 2 years, sold everything we owned, sold our big old Texas house and moved into an RV. And spent 8 weeks traveling the nation, took the Alaska Highway, spent 2 years up in Alaska, and then ended up in Buda, Texas, and started our first location in September 2020.
Man, so you lived in an RV for 2 years?
Well, we lived in an RV for about 8 months. Yeah.
I gave a presentation once, was how I ended up living in a trailer. So not a normal thing for a dentist, probably. But yeah, we bought a house up in Alaska and ended up like flipping it and renovating it. So we were sort of like living in the RV while we were renovating the house, and then lived in it for the couple months that it took us to get up to Alaska. We also have 200-pound dogs, and they also lived in the RV with us. So it was like, an interesting, life-altering experience, but it was, so much fun to go up to Alaska and get 2 years to just explore, what we consider the most like beautiful place in the country.
Yeah.
Interesting fact about Alaska, it's one of the highest concentrations of pediatric dentists per capita in the nation.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you're looking to start a practice, don't go to Alaska.
Don't go to Alaska. I was going to ask you, like, did it ever cross y'all's mind to maybe like, we like it here. It's nice. I watch Meat Eater sometimes. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Alaska looks really nice, but
We really did. I mean, we fell in love with Alaska and the lifestyle and the people, and just made some incredible friends up there. The darkness was a little bit hard. I'm from Florida, Tim's from Colorado, so we're used to sunshine like all year long. And so the 20 hours of pitch black for 4 months a year was a little bit draining. And we just always had this vision of starting, you know, multiple location practice. And that was a little bit harder to do in an area that was already pretty saturated with pediatric dentists. And so it was just harder to find it that we could do that vision. So yeah, that's why we kind of picked Texas, and I'm sure Tim will kind of talk about how we picked this particular area. But yeah, we tempted ourselves to actually stay in Alaska, but we love it there.
Yeah, we always tell people if we had stayed one more year, it would have been permanent residence, because it's a different lifestyle. And the joke is, well, you know, why did you move from Alaska? And we say, well, we're going to work really hard and sell our souls for the next 20 years. And then when we're done with that, we'll retire and we'll move to Alaska.
Move to Alaska. So, but you guys started off in Texas, right? Or you said you sold your house in Texas?
In Denver, and then Texas. We lived in like a suburb of Fort Worth called Mansfield, Texas. And so we lived there for about 2.5 years. And then, yeah, that's really when, you know, I would come home every day for my associateship and kind of talk to Tim about, you know, how, you know, some customer service things that I felt like if we owned a practice, it could be a little bit different. And just, you know, some of the business aspects of dentistry that Tim always just had like really great ideas for. And so it was during our time there that we realized that opening a business together, Tim doing the business part of it, me doing the clinical and, you know, team leadership, we could create something really special. But I was a general dentist then, and I knew that I only wanted to do pediatrics. And so for me to open up our own practice, I really wanted to be the pediatric specialist that, you know, it's kind of the end of the line. I wanted any kid who needed anything to be able to come to me. And I really wanted to be that specialist that offers, you know, all the pediatric services that a kid might need. So for me, that meant going back to residency, getting the, you know, board certification, and being that type of specialist to open that kind of practice. And so that's what led us to applying to the second residency, and then just, you know, picking Alaska because I loved the program there. And then also we just like fell in love with the idea of going to Alaska for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's kind of like living that, like, you know, nomad life a little bit, and you're like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you feel like it brought y'all closer?
Oh yeah, living in an RV together, or
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Between that and then flipping a house together, that was like, I'm like, I feel like we've done everything that you could possibly do to test a marriage. And so yeah, I definitely feel like it did.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
good. Yeah. So let me ask you, Alexandra, the associateship that you were working in, where you would come home and you're like, man, Tim, I feel like we can be, I hate this, or I don't like this. What was that stuff?
It was, I feel like how the families and patients, I don't feel like, you know, customer service and the patient experience was the priority. I, you know, as an associate seeing 60, 65 kids a day, I would go to explain a plan to a parent or talk them through something that's a little bit more complex, and would sort of get cut off by the dental assistants and say like, you know, you need to go somewhere else. You need to do the next thing. I'll talk to the parent instead for you. And I really, you know, that's why we become dentists. We want to have that relationship with our patients. And I feel like some of the associateships that I've had, that's just like not been the priority. It's like, you're the dentist, go do the dental work. And then all the relationship building just like isn't as important. And yeah, I worked as an associate, I joke about it, literally 17 offices before we started our own practice. And because I worked in several group practices that had,
she was never fired.
I was never, we just from moving and working like part-time in some places.
Well, the
and then one had 7 locations that I worked at. So I'd go to a different office every single day. But I like value that experience so much because, you know, learning from all these experiences, learning from all these offices of the things that I feel like we could improve on, or, you know, the things that they did great, really helped us to build the practice that we have. And so, yeah, I totally encourage new dentists, like work for a couple of places, work for a single location office, work for a group practice, see which practice model works for you. Because I've gotten to do all that, you know, worked in a single location office, worked in multi-location group practices. That really helped me to realize that I do like the group practice model and like having a collaborative doctor environment, which I never would have known hadn't I not worked for, you know, a couple of different, you know, practices and groups.
Yeah, and just to be fair too to some of the places that she's worked, she'd come home with a lot of great ideas as well, and I'd go, oh wow, we're going to steal that. So you know, there was a lot of good aspects of those practices as well, a lot of things they're doing very well that we love to emulate. So you know, there's good and bad, and there's good and bad with our practice, right?
Yeah. What were some of those things that you would come home and you're like, oh, I want to do this. I got this. And now you're utilizing it.
Having systems in place for training dental assistants, I feel like that was something that when you're an associate, you just have no idea what's going on behind the scenes of like how we're training the team, what's important, what are the benefits that you offer to a team. And I realized like none of the practices that I ever worked for even offered health insurance as a plan. And so that was something that was really important to us when we were building our team. We want to offer advanced benefits to build a team that wants to spend their career with us, because a lot of these offices, just like the turnover for assistants was just so high. And I realized that we were spending so much time training new assistants and trying to get people in that was really important to me, that, we get a team that wants to stick with us and we offer them benefits and, offer them a culture and environment that they want to spend their careers with. And so, but I've had some practices that were just like incredible at training assistants. They really had systems in place. And it wasn't until, starting my own practice, I realized like what an effort that takes to train a team and have everyone be efficient and on the same page with all those efficiencies. So like, yeah, some of the practices have been great. The mentoring, I've had some really incredible mentors in the practices that I've worked. And so to me, that was really important when we started hiring, doctors to come work with us, is I wanted a mentorship opportunity. What are the things that you want to learn? None of these practices I worked at ever had any sort of like onboarding or formal training when you came in. And that always kind of surprised me. Like they just throw you in, you don't even have like a login to the computer. And they're like, well, you're a doctor, like you figure it out. And I'm like, well, what materials do you use? Like, I would like to know someone like the assistants' names, or like, can you
treatment philosophy?
What's your treatment philosophy? Like, what do the patients in this practice expect? Like if I recommend a stainless steel crown, are they gonna, laugh me off the, chair? I just like, it's just nice to have like some sort of expectation for what you expect out of me as an associate and what your patients expect out of me. And so I think that like even just a day of like training and onboarding to me was something that I really craved and wanted as an associateship and just never found. So that's something that I have like a formal onboarding and training system for our new dentists when they come on, that goes over all of our equipment, goes over all of our materials and treatment philosophy, so that we can be on the same page for our parents and families, and they can feel good about seeing any doctor in our practice and knowing that they're getting the same, quality and standard of care.
Gotcha. Okay. Before we dive into your business, I'm kind of curious in the sense of, has this always been on the plan? Like you guys owning we're going to own a business. We're going to own practices. That's the plan.
No, I think so. I mean, I come from an entrepreneurial background, and, again, going into management in corporate America and Fortune 150 companies, really, really large scale stuff, that entrepreneurial bug never leaves you. And I knew that Alex would catch it sooner or later. Right. So, I mean, we've been together 8 years now, and we've been working on this plan for over 5 years. So Alex would say, no, it probably wasn't always for you.
No, I was not a dentist in dental school that was like, that is my dream, is to open up my own practice. Like that seemed like a lot more work than I wanted to be able to come home at 5 and like have kids and have a work-life balance. And so that honestly is not something that I like. When I interviewed for jobs, that wasn't my first question. Like, can I have ownership of your practice? Or all of the practices ended up offering me like ownership opportunities, but I don't know. Yeah, that wasn't my plan as a dentist. And it wasn't until Tim, he like kind of laid out this vision of how he would be helping me with the business that I even felt like it could be a remote possibility.
So, yeah. I think that helps a ton. If somebody lays it out and you're like, oh, okay, cool, I don't have to do that stuff. I got it.
If you're doing all that, then I want to be the dentist. Yeah.
But I also laughed when, we were talking about it, and she goes, well, I can't wait to have my own practice so we can have kind of more of a work-life balance. And I just chuckled because working in corporate, even traveling as much as I did and as much as she worked, that was literally, we worked about 50% of what we do now. And that there's no end in sight to that. I mean, you have to be mentally ill to do what we're doing right now. And that's just all there is to it. You have to have a different level of drive and commitment to something larger than yourself. Because if you're doing it for work-life balance, especially in today's competitive market, and it's only becoming more competitive, that's not going to be what happens. I mean, it'll take 5 to 10 years of a hardcore daily grind to get to that point where you can put it on cruise control. So that can't be your main motivation starting a new practice.
Yeah, for work-life balance.
I hate to hear that, and they say, "No, I'm going to be different." No,
You're not gonna be different. You're not. Okay, gotcha. All right, so let's dive into your business a little bit. If you guys can recall, oh, first and foremost, who'd you guys go with for the loan, or did you guys go with the bank for a loan?
Bank of America, and I think they dominate the market for small single practice startups right now. Easy to deal with from a business guy's standpoint, would have been pretty difficult to deal with from a dentist standpoint.
Why?
A lot of the stuff that I'm just used to, right, and having those financial documents prepared and being able to field those questions. Also, we opened right in the middle of the pandemic. We signed our lease like literally 3 weeks before COVID hit. So,
Really?
Bank of America was pulling loans left and right, and to be able to navigate that situation and say, no, we're moving forward with this, and to convince them we do have the financial wherewithal, we do have the means, we have the plan, right? I mean, we've got a 75-page business plan, we've got a 50-page marketing plan, and so all of these facets were in place, and communicating that to them in an effective manner to get them bought in would have been pretty difficult, I think, without that background.
Yeah, that's pretty. Never once when the pandemic hit were you guys like, maybe we should pause a little bit. Like
every night.
Also, like at this point, we'd like sacrificed working for 2 years. Like we both quit our jobs so I could go back to residency. Like there was just no other option. Like we were going to start this practice and like it was going to have to be successful or we would literally just go bankrupt. And I guess living in an RV in Alaska for the rest of
living in an RV in Alaska.
Yeah.
You guys' moment in Alaska is like my dream. So
yeah, like, no, I know. And you know what? Hey, that's the worst alternative.
Yeah, that's good.
We'll go for broke.
Okay, so what were the terms of the lease?
You mean the facility lease or the Bank of America terms?
Bank of America. I'm sorry, the loan. I'm sorry, the loan.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, they're very accommodative to new practices, and they know. I mean, so they've got a thing called Practice Heartbeat, where they harvest the data from all of their new practices. So they've got it down to a science. They know when key indicators or key performance indicators fall out of whack with the rest of your peer group, and so they can step in and help you. Fortunately, we haven't been in that situation. But the good news is that they do have a lot of programs in place to help dentists that maybe don't have a TIM. They don't have that business background. So, a lot of other banks might even offer more attractive terms, but Bank of America has the ability and the coaching in place to help, and Alex by herself if she wanted to start a practice. So we did a 10-year term, fully amortized, but we have the first year was interest only, and then there's graduated payments for the next couple of years. So, again, very, very accommodative to new dentists, and they also understand, anybody else who saw $400,000 in personal loans or student loans would laugh you out of the office, right?
Yeah.
And banks that don't specialize and work with dentists, but banks that do specialize and work with dentists understand that that's all just part of the deal, and because of the income potential, eventually they'll get their money back.
Big time. How much was the loan for?
Ended up being $550 total, including $50K in working capital.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, really quick, are you guys still paying off student loan debt or no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for another 35 years.
He's like, you're just for 35 more years. That's it.
A funny aside story. So when we first started dating, I think it wasn't until we were actually married that Alex would divulge her student loan debt to me.
I think he had no idea how much dental school costs. Like in his mind, like 100,000 maybe. And so I didn't tell him I was like $450,000 in debt until we were already engaged for sure.
Man, but so okay, how does that work? Maybe, or Tim, maybe you might be able to answer this. Like, how does that work? Do you recommend like, okay, now I'm making a lot, hurry up and pay it off, or just continue with the?
Man, that so totally depends on your personal financial situation. The one thing I will say, and I'll throw this caution out there to dentists, just because somebody's a financial advisor does not mean they know what they're talking about. In fact, most of the time they don't know what they're talking about. So be real careful with who you get advice from and who you decide to put your money with, because a lot of times they're just salespeople getting started in their career and they don't have your best interest at heart. So sometimes paying down debt is not always the best option, right? I mean, if we can invest it in a new location and get, about 15 to 20% return on our investment right now, why would we ever pay a 3% note off, right? Now, if you've got 7.5%, 8% interest on your loans, that's asinine, and you need to be at least refinancing it or doing something else in order to get Dentistry down to, something more in range of what the current market is.
Gotcha. All right. So it's pretty much depend. I like that. Just because someone's a financial advisor doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
it's true.
Absolutely.
I should probably stop getting my financial advice from like Instagram post or something like. I'm like, oh, this post tells me I need to save, so I need to. But okay, cool. So then, how much was your guys' build out? Did you use it all? Where was it allocated?
Every last penny. And we got really fortunate. I also have a bit of a background in construction, and Alex is just an incredible interior decorator. So we were able to save a tremendous amount of money, probably anywhere between $150,000 to $200,000 between the cost of the build out and the cost of design work. This build out probably would have cost around $700,000. We got everything, including the equipment, including supplies and everything. We're all in for about $600,000 on this deal.
600. Okay. So where'd you guys get the equipment from?
Burkhardt.
Okay. Everything?
The equipment. Yeah. The initial order we got from Burkhardt. And we outfitted the second practice with Burkhardt. When we start a third practice, we'll use Burkhardt. Their service post installation is incredible. And so that has made it completely worth it to me.
They're here the second anything, we've had very little issues at all, but like whenever we do need them to get here, they're here like that day. So we've been really happy.
Just incredible customer service.
Nice. And you said when you started third practice?
Yes. We put an offer.
Yeah, we're in negotiations right now on a new lease south of us by a little ways. Man, how many do you guys envision having? We joke about it, and I say we're going to rise to our own level of incompetence. And if that's 5 locations, then that's great. If it's 10 locations, that's great. Our biggest philosophy is, like, we always want to maintain the same standard and level of patient care. That can never drop. The second that drops, we're going to have to stop and reevaluate what we're doing, because it means we've failed or something has broken down along the way. So that's priorities number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the second part of it is, you hear so many stories about, hey, this guy, got to 5 locations and sold it for $5 million or sold it for $10 million. Everybody's looking for that brass ring, and they're building companies to sell them, which, as a business person, that's not a good strategy. At some point, this M&A fever is going to break down, and there's going to be some heartache and heartbreak involved in that. We're building a business that will outlive us, that'll be sustainable long after we're gone, right? This is a career for us. It's 25, 30 years. And that's what we're building this practice with in mind. So, if we can continue to help kids and provide them with better service and care than they're getting anywhere else, we're going to continue to do that. That's good. I like that. So then, for the listeners, what type of practice do you have? I know you said kids, pediatric. Do you guys take all kind of insurance, or just PPO or Medicaid too? Or
yeah, we accept Medicaid. I think we just don't accept HMOs, but yeah, pretty much other than that, I feel really passionate about accepting Medicaid as a pediatric specialist. I feel like those are the kids who need us the most. And so I want to be there, and I want to be a specialist who can do all those services for those children. And so that's really been a big part of our philosophy of care, is accepting Medicaid. I also like doing more complex cases and like full mouth rehabs, and I like doing anesthesia cases. And so a lot of times those are the kids who just need more complex care too. And so, yeah, we accept Medicaid, accept all PPO, fee for service. And our goal was really to be a practice, like Medicaid patients get treated the same exact way that a fee for service or a PPO patient does. Like, they come in and get offered a coffee or a tea or a water. We don't quadruple book them just because it's a Medicaid patient. You know, we want to spend the same amount of time with them. They deserve the same level and quality of care. And on, you know, on the flip side, we're also really strict with our cancellation policies. So I know that's a reason that a lot of, you know, practices may not want to accept Medicaid, is they feel like the cancellation or the no-show rate is higher for Medicaid patients. But we're just, you know, we provide an incredible service. We have a beautiful space and office, and we treat our patients really well. So we just ask that they're respectful of like being on time and showing up for their appointments. And so, you know, we've gotten to the point where we're, you know, we're not afraid to release the patient provider relationship if someone isn't holding up their end of the bargain and showing up for appointments and being on time. And so because of that, we have a Medicaid patient population who's like really grateful to be in our practice and, you know, comes to their appointments and shows up. And we believe you can make a great living also seeing Medicaid families and patients. And, you know, we're lucky in Texas, we have a good reimbursement rate for Medicaid, all things considered. Yeah, we accept everything, do all services. We have like in-office general anesthesia, in-office IV sedation, offer oral sedation, intranasal sedation. I do a decent amount of oral surgery for our patients that need it. But yeah, see patients up to 18 years old, and including special healthcare needs children. And I also go to the hospital. We have a children's hospital here in Austin called Dell Children's. And so I go there once a month too, and bring the more medically complex kids who need to have care in a hospital setting. We can go there and do that too.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the reimbursement rate for Medicaid over there?
In Texas, I can't remember. I think it's like 17th or 18th in the nation as far as states are ranked. So it's not like crazy good. It's typically 50% of UCRs is my like general rule of thumb on that.
That's pretty good. Well, break it down to me. What's the cancellation policy look like then?
So we have, if you don't show up the first time, you probably know this better than I need to do it.
Yeah.
So you get 3 strike and
It's a 3 strike and you're out rule.
But
essentially.
Yeah, first time you can only rebook at a certain time of the day after that first cancellation. Second time you can only do same day appointments. So say the second time that they no-showed, they can only call the morning of, and if we happen to have an appointment open, you know, they can come in that day, but we're not going to book them out in advance if they've canceled twice. And then the third time we send them a patient termination letter and explain that, you know, just unfortunately, you know, our relationship is, you know, no longer working, and you know, basically we, you know, you're their emergency dentist for X amount of days, that's mandated by law, and provide them, you know, with a list of other dentists if they need it. We've only had to do that a couple times. So it's really like, most people are really respectful, and we explain it to them. You know, I think it's something that, you know, we book out months in advance now. So these appointments are really important. We want you to be able to be here. And it's also required by Medicaid that you know, any families that don't show up for their appointments, that we report them also to the insurance companies. And so, you know, making patients aware of that this is, Medicaid considers it neglect if you are not showing up for your appointments and being here on time. And so, you know, informing them that that's something that we would have to do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first time you call them or you text them, or what do you?
They get, no, I mean, yeah. So with our, and I'll put a plug in right now for Carestack, right? That's our practice management software, phenomenal cloud-based service. Patient communication is integrated in with their overall software. So there's no need for like a Yappy or a Weave or anything, any of those. All great programs, but it's nice having just a one-stop shop for everything. So all the communication is built in. So from the moment they book the appointment, they're getting emails, they're getting text messages, they're getting communication, they're signing up on the patient portal. And then all of that is automated, right? So a month out, they get an email reminder. A week out, they get an email and a text. 2 days out, they get a text reminder. All, you know, and you can customize the wording however you want to, you know, reply yes, all that fun stuff. And then once it gets to 2 days out and they still haven't confirmed, then we'll actually have a process where our director of first impressions will start calling to confirm by phone. So yeah, we take no-shows pretty seriously. We show, you know, we fight hard for every single patient, every marketing dollar that we spend, you know, it has to have an ROI on it. So take that all pretty seriously. Having said that, with all of that in place, everything, our cancellation rate or no-show rate, I should say, cancellation and reschedule rate is 20%.
Okay.
So expect it to be pretty high. Now we're also a very high growth office, so that needs to be factored in as well.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. What else do you guys? I mean, I understand Carestack is like the central nervous system, right, of the practice, basically. So that's one of the ways you guys utilize it is through patient communication, patient reminders, right? Appointment reminders, things like that. Talk to me a little bit more about like what else do you guys utilize Carestack for as far as where you feel like it's phenomenal for this?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, the imaging. So actually, Carestack is integrated with TigerView, which they've got a phenomenal integration together. So, and I guess you could talk a little bit about that as a clinician.
Yeah. I mean, that's super easy. Like, it's all integrated directly when they, the assistants take an X-ray, it immediately gets like into their chart. All the tooth charting, everything's like super user friendly as far as the dentist standpoint of it. The thing I love the most is that all the forms are electronic, all the consents, all the financial estimates. A parent, literally, we just have tablets at the end of every chair, and a parent pulls that up and signs it right there. So if there's ever a change to the treatment plan, it's all like automatically a parent can sign a change. It's not printing something out, having them sign it, scan something back in. So nothing ever gets lost as far as treatment consents, treatment estimates, my sedation records. When I do sedations, it's all electronic. So it just is, it's so much more user-friendly from the paperwork standpoint of not having to just print and scan and lose things.
All of our check-in is digital. So we have kiosks up front where they can come in and just tap in their name and date of birth and check in and sit down and have a cup of coffee. All of the forms, the onboarding forms are all online. So 50% of our patients literally walk in for their new patient visit and don't have any paperwork to fill out because it's all been done online. Insurance has already been verified. So our average wait time is approaching less than 10 minutes, even for new patients.
That's good. Can people like book online through your website?
Yep, it has a integrated online booking system. So existing patients can log onto their patient portal, pay their bill, book new appointments. And then new patients actually, they have a little app integrated into our website. So they click the button on our website, Book Now. Also in all our marketing materials, that Book Now button leads back to Carestack's online booking system.
Did you guys start off with them or did you have somebody else?
Yeah.
I spent a tremendous, because I've been through several like multi-billion-dollar software integrations with some very, very large companies. And I witnessed firsthand what a disaster the switching at such a high switch cost can be for software. So I spent a lot of time researching Tab 32 and, the cloud-based versions of your classics, EagleSoft, Open Dental, Dentrix, all of those. And Carestack was by far and away the best choice, and their follow-up support has proven itself.
Oh, yeah. So. If there any question or there's very few glitches, but if anything isn't working perfectly, like you email them or they have a chat feature within Carestack, so they can help me like immediately. Someone responds to my chat right away to help me figure something out. If there's an upgrade and I don't know how to do something anymore, there's always something available like right away. So yeah, we've been super happy with them. I had never heard of it. I feel like I've worked with everything else like Open Dental and EagleSoft and all the other platforms. I hadn't even heard about Carestack until Tim was researching it and found out about it. So yeah, I feel so grateful that we found them, and they've just been a lifesaver in the practice.
And then from a business standpoint, right, the reporting system, which I'm really, really big on, data-driven analysis and running the business financially, not just based on your gut feel. So their reporting both for single location, but also for multiple locations is very robust. So I've been very happy with that.
Yeah. When you were doing research with like Tab 32 and other companies, what was the, I guess, like difference for you? Right? Because it's all cloud-based, right? Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is where everything is going no matter what, right? I mean, that's where the world is going. Support is a lot of it, right? The ability to reach out, because no software is perfect. You're always going to have issues. It's who's going to support you the best, right? Tab 32 I thought was a good suite, but I thought their customer support was abysmal. I'll just be honest with that. I had a terrible experience, and I've had a lot of other people tell me the same thing. Carestack is not without its warts, and it does have certain issues, but they work really hard to take care of them or figure out a workaround for you. So that was high on my list of priorities. Obviously, I had a list of 10 or 12 items that were pretty much necessary prerequisites where it was an automatic non-starter if the program didn't meet those certain requirements.
Yeah, gotcha. That's good, man. That's good to know. That's good to know that like Carestack is like running it You know what I mean? Like your whole practice, it's going great and everything. I know it saves a ton on IT costs, especially for a startup.
Man. Yeah, we don't have a server. We have no server in the office. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can
So
do everything I can do from home, like any of my notes I need to finish. I can see everyone's x-rays. Like I can just log in at home and it's just exactly like it is in the office, which is really nice.
yeah, I remember we had Practice Works and my boss at the time, she would call me just to go to the office to move the mouse
Yeah.
so she can log on network. And I'm like, are you paying me for that? Like to move the yeah, like a long drive to do that. So it's you don't have to do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like now that we're like cloud-based, so it's good. That's really, really good. You mentioned director of first impressions. What's that?
That's so front desk doesn't begin to cover what the women who work up front do. I mean, there's so much more than that, and they provide so much more service than just answering phones and sitting down and receiving patients. Our goal was to be the non-dental office. So when you come into our office, it looks like you walked into our living room. I don't know if you can see the shiplet behind me. She's a big Chip and Joanna Gaines fan. I've built about 20 barn doors for her all throughout the office. So it's really like walking into a living room. Our director of first impression is like stands up like a hotel concierge to greet you, asks you if you want a cup of coffee, will make you a fresh cup of coffee. It's in no way, shape, or form like walking into a traditional dental office with the carpet, the brown chairs, and the 5 expired magazines on it.
Yeah, we're a pediatric office, so there's kids coming in. So the kids are immediately shown to the playroom. She shows them how to, work the tablets. We have a really cool, it's called a New Line. It's this huge interactive, like 60-inch basically tablet that the kids can draw on and play games. And so she like shows them how to, play with that. And so we want kids to be excited to come here and see us and be like, just greeted by someone who's excited that they're here too. So they're both of
really
our
bring energy.
They're amazing.
Yeah, that's good. I like that director of first impressions. That's new. I never heard of that. How many employees do you guys have?
6 per location right now.
So 12 in total.
12 total. Yep.
Okay. How'd you guys find them? How'd you hire them?
The first ones, I mean, so I'll throw this out there just for anybody like looking for a meta answer to that question. Indeed.com is where I've found the most success.
Gotcha. Indeed.
I've also made like 400 hires in my career, 350 of which of those were not good hires.
No, Tim, who is not a dentist and had never like been in a dental office other than for his own dental checkups. I was working part-time somewhere else when we first started. And so he had to be the one to like interview and hire my dental assistants. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to get with these dental, like one of them brought a mold, from their dental assisting class to like show him their impressions that they took or something.
I didn't even know what I was like. What is like, why did
I know, it's
like the weirdest present I've ever received.
And like they are the most rock star dental assistants I have ever worked with in my whole career, the dental assistants that we have. And I'm just like, I still just cannot believe that he hired them, like, just aside from me, but it's just like, it's all about personality and coachability and, the drive to be, self-starter and take the initiative. And that's something that he's like really good at identifying in people. Amazing assistants. They've been with us since we've opened and just,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's so good, Tim. He's all like, this looks you could have done better with this, but okay,
teeth. Yes, I agree. These are teeth.
Those look like some teeth.
I know. I
wish I had been there for that.
It's funny. So then give me a range if you can. What's production and collection looking like for y'all?
So again, I'm going to say this, I'm going to throw this out there. We are not normal. All right. So Buda is a very high growth location. It was a diamond in the rough. I started looking when we decided to move back from Alaska. We picked about 9 or 10 cities that we thought we could live in and started narrowing it down from there. So I had a spreadsheet with about 92 columns and about 150 rows of data for these different cities. And it really boiled down to, we moved to Buda because of the perfect demographics for a pediatric dental practice. That's why we came here, right? Now it ended up being a wonderful community, and we're incredibly happy to live here and call it home. But that's why we intentionally moved, because it was the right place to start a pediatric dental practice. So we've averaged, since we opened, about 140 new patients per month. Our first full year in business, we produced about 1.25, collected about 1.1.
Wow. So from the beginning, you just
Immediately. Yeah.
Took off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was because of the research you've done beforehand on Buda, or was it because like, man, we're just great. Like our marketing is fantastic.
Well, it's yes. I mean, it wouldn't have been as explosive. I think the location itself probably accounts for 60, for being honest and not egotistical at all. I'd say probably 60 to 70% of that is location. And then the remaining, that would have made a good practice. And then the rest of it is what we've done to make it a great practice. Location
wise, are you guys like in a, like everybody can see you type of place, or
we're high volume drive-by traffic, Class A retail, new building, very beautiful build out. But it was more to do with the demographics than anything, right? I mean, the problem is everybody wants to open. You want to make a million as a dentist, go into a rural community that doesn't have a lot of dentists, right? Everybody wants to live in the cities now. You're not going to be successful opening a practice. You cannot change demographics, and you cannot work against demographics. It's not going to work. So that is first and foremost. Don't kid yourself into thinking that you can overcome bad demographics by being the best doctor, the amazing doctor. It will take you 10 years.
It was my dream of San Francisco making 2 million. And then, geez, anyways, but
yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
That's good. I like that. That's good advice. When it came to your marketing, what are you guys doing?
I mean, everything. So again, we've got a 50-page marketing plan that has all facets. About the only thing we don't do a lot of is print marketing, but we're very active on Instagram, Facebook. We do a lot of video production. Let's see, a lot of SEO, a lot of pay-per-click advertising. So yeah, I mean, Alex, kind of laughs because for most dentists, the purists in dental school, marketing is a 4-letter word. But if you're offering a better service than everybody else out there, in my opinion, sorry, I'm a little egotistical again. Yeah, in my opinion, right, the more patients we can see, the more lives we can affect, and the more good we can do. So it's kind of where we're at.
No, I think that's an essential part of our practice. And I mean, how do they know you're here unless you let people know? And so, and we're super involved in the community too. And that's, I think, been a big part of we live in this community, we give back to this community. We're always donating to other, just local small businesses and getting involved in everything that we can. And viewed as a community that appreciates that. And all the local businesses really support each other. And so we participate in a lot of the school events and, all the things. We just do everything. But I think that's been a big factor to our success here, is that people see us giving back and participating in the community too.
Yeah.
That's nice. Out of all that, what do you feel has been the best ROI?
So I could go back in and I could give you the data on all of it. And I would say that it's a comprehensive approach. You can't have one without the other. If you're lacking on the social media side, if you're lacking on Facebook, you're not going to get as good of results for your even for your pay-per-click dollars, because people don't know who you are and you don't have that level of trust. So it truly does have to be, it can't be, I'm going to go spend $2,000 on Facebook ads this month, and then I'm going to go spend $2,000 on Google ads this month. It has to be part of a marketing strategy, not just a plan, but an actual strategy. How are you going to get patients in through the front door through all the tactics that you can use in marketing at your fingertips? Yeah.
And I think that's something we kind of don't think about sometimes. That takes planning beforehand, right? A lot of creating the strategy, making sure it works, and getting that funnel right. Sometimes we feel all right, we're open. Now we got to post it, right? We're open, guys. New patient special. And
hang up that shingle. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
The first 10 days we were open, we saw 100 patients because like they just already knew that we were here because we've been marketing for a while. Like they had no idea the first day of patients were like, we didn't realize this was your first day open because like they'd been hearing about us already, and our website had been up and like, perfect for months. And so having a great website was a huge part of, I think, like just parents saw it and immediately felt like it was thoughtful, and we looked well established because of that, even though we had literally just opened the doors.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'll give a quick plug to Wonderist. They are the ones who designed this. They're not who we're with now, but they're the ones who designed our website. And it's, without ego, it's one of the best that I've seen in the dental space. They did a phenomenal job.
Very happy with it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Awesome. So throughout this process, guys, throughout this time, because from the moment you signed your loan, right? You're like, okay, we're gonna do this, right? Or both time you both agreed, like we're really doing this. Till right now, what's been some of the biggest struggles or fails or pitfalls that you've experienced?
Are you asking that as a single location owner or as a multi-location owner?
Both.
Boy, that's a great question. I can tell you what the multiple location answer is, which is no, you know what? I'll say for me, the biggest surprise was how difficult insurance actually is. I've heard all the horror stories and I thought, not me, right? Same thing, right? Nah, that's these dental people that don't know what they're talking about. Man, it is unbelievably difficult. And it seems like every time you turn around, they're figuring out another way to not pay you. And it almost seems like it's intentional and done maliciously. And then that may or may not be the case, but either way, it is wildly more complex than I had originally given it credit for.
Yeah. So insurance has been one of the biggest struggles for you guys.
For me. And what about for you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess staff has been a little bit more difficult, like finding people right now. I think that's like a universal, issues of just finding people who want to work, and even offering great benefits and great pay. Dental assistants, as we grow, finding additional team members has been a little bit more difficult than we thought it would be, because I feel like, a couple of years ago, it seemed really easy to find a dental assistant. So the first office we built from scratch, like ground zero. The second office, we bought an existing office. So that had been a pediatric office for about 2.5 years. The dentist, ended up not wanting to be a business owner and just moving away. So we bought
this is actually that's a great story for your listeners based on your podcast. So we bought a struggling practice from a dentist who came out guns a-blazing, did a really nice build out actually on the office in a demographically challenged area for as far as pedo. It's not great, but it's also not the worst that I've seen, right? But it came out guns a-blazing and just didn't have a lot of these things in place, right? Didn't have the marketing in place, didn't have a TIM, right? I mean, again, we have, after doing this, so much respect for dentists that do this and do it successfully by themselves, because we have both of us literally working, and I kid you not, 80 hours a week since we started this. I mean, and that shows no signs of slowing down. We work on the weekends. We talk about it at dinner. We're working at night. So for a single doctor owner to do this stuff is incredibly commendable.
That's opening the second location a little bit harder for me in a clinical standpoint of like, I can't be everywhere at once. And so how am I creating these systems to replicate what we have at our primary office that I've been at? I want the same culture and the same feel, but it's going to be different team members. And if I'm not there, coaching and training and helping, do everything, that was a little bit harder for me than I thought maybe it would be. And I know every dentist, you open multiple locations, you think that they're all going to be exactly the same, but just getting the other team remotely sort of more, just on board like our initial team has been.
What Alex is trying to say is delegation.
delegation is hard.
It's
Well, it's
hard.
like, and yeah, if you're like perfectionist and you want everything, you want it to be this amazing patient experience and you want it to be this, what my first office is. And it is. And it's like, they're doing so great, but it's like, that was harder for me to delegate and, figure out those systems when I can't be there all the time. And so it's definitely like a little harder to like let go of some of that when you open up a second location.
Yeah, that's super. Like, I think all of us have a little bit of a, you know what I mean? You're like, this is my baby. And then you're kind of letting it go.
Yeah.
Okay. Throughout this process.
To finish my thought on that real quick. So, bought the location. He had a tough go of it for 2.5 years and just could never get to that breakthrough point. So unfortunately it didn't work out for him, but he did make a nice chunk of change on the exit. Right. And we went in and so immediately when we implemented our systems, we doubled the revenue like month 2. So that goes to show you with the proper systems, with the proper plans in place, with a cohesive strategy on all fronts, that literally, so there you go. It's 50% us.
Gotcha.
50% where you are.
Yeah. Could you tell us like at least one of those systems that you implemented immediately that you skyrocketed?
I mean, well, our marketing strategy.
Okay.
Right. And then our using Carestack. So we immediately, they were on Open Dental, I think, immediately did the switch over. Like day one, we're not even questioning. We'll rip the Band-Aid off, get to Carestack. So then our no-show rate dropped significantly, right? Our recare rate went back up. Our ability to track those things, find out who we can call to get on the short schedule, on the short call list, things like that, right? All of that.
I like that. So the no-show rate kind of lowered a little bit because you're able to track it with Carestack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. How has this all affected your personal life?
What's your personal life?
Like, what is that?
We're working 6 days, like clinically 6 days a week for the first like 8 months that we were open. Cause it's, we couldn't open full time when we first started. So I was, working part-time in another office for like 3 days a week. And then we wanted our office to be open 3 days a week. So that was like exhausting for, really the first 8 months. And then I feel like we finally sort of started having like a normal life again. And then we opened the second office and then it was just like, now I just give up and, but we made this really nice. I feel like we were just here like until 10 o'clock at night for the first, like,
no, we literally, the couch that we're sitting on right now, we would literally sleep on. We'd be here. We were here till 3 a.m. the morning that we opened. Yeah,
just making sure everything was perfect and looked beautiful and just
then
like cleaning. And
with the new practice, we were there till we got better. We were only there till 2:30 a.m. When we opened the second practice. So I think by the 5th or 6th practice, we'll be there until midnight at the latest.
Yeah,
well,
man.
Have someone else doing this for us by that point, I hope.
Yeah, that's a lot of patience, guys. A lot of patience. Like, what I mean, working at it, everything. How do you? I guess let me ask this: like, is there ever a moment where you're like, all right, I'm sick of it. Let's not talk about work. We're out for dinner. Let's do this. Or are you guys like, no, we can talk about it?
I don't know. I think we go through.
We gotta be, sometimes she'll tell me to stop talking about it, or there's like we just we care so much about our team and like they really are our family. So if there's like things going on in their lives that we're worried about for them, or like there's just I just feel like we're always talking about it in some capacity. But I feel like sometimes we do have to tell each other like, okay, no more work talk. And then like 2 glasses of wine later, we're like talking about work again. So we try really hard.
We've never, since we started, we've never gone over 8 hours without talking about the practice in some way, shape, or form. And that is an absolute true fact, even on vacation.
Yeah.
Y'all have taken a vacation though, right?
Yeah.
Took one.
Oh, we've taken a couple mini vacations.
Like,
like 4 days. We went to Costa Rica, but we could only go for like 4 days because we didn't want to shut the office down for more than, like a day and a half.
Yeah.
And so, but little mini vacations we've been able to take.
But it is also about building something. I mean, we absolutely made more money, me in my career and Alex working as associate, than we do owning these practices, even with a very successful practice and a decent practice that we're starting up. It has to be about more than just the money. We absolutely made more money working independently than we do owning a practice. And a lot of that is because we compensate the team so well. We provide the healthcare and 18 days paid time off for every team member. And, we're big about creating something bigger than ourselves. We donated $20,000 to local causes last year. So it's, it's not just about the money. And you hear people say that, and the people who give that a wink and a nod and say, yeah, sure, but it really is, those aren't the ones that are going to succeed, not long term.
Do you think it's more about like the freedom for you guys?
Oh, there's no free. There's literally no freedom. It's not about
less
freedom.
Like we can't, as an associate, I would have no problem taking 2 weeks off for our honeymoon, because like there's always someone else to cover you, and it's not my problem. Like I'm just an associate in someone's practice. But yeah, we're way more tied down and less free being owners. We love creating jobs for our team members. Like that is something that I get so much joy out of that I had no idea until we were practice owners. Like we are creating these lives for our team members. And like, it's just like, what an incredible opportunity to have that. And we've been able to we started a nonprofit organization where we have a mobile dental van that goes to underserved communities. Yeah. In Texas, we literally just got donated. St. David's Foundation has they're a local foundation in Austin that has one of the largest fleet of dental vans in the country. They have like 12 vans, and
we call it a van. It's actually a
It's like
42-foot mobile dental RV, diesel powered mobile dental bus with two fully equipped operatories, a piano, like sterilization, everything. And so we created this nonprofit, and St. David's donated us one of their dental vans when they upgraded their fleet to get some new vans. And so because we've been practice owners and have this, we have the option and ability to like start this nonprofit and go to underserved areas and really affect like change in a way that other dentists, I just feel like can't, or don't have the time or resources to do. And our practice being successful has allowed us to. We probably put 50,000 of our own dollars into like getting this going and like starting the nonprofit so that this can be something that's sustainable, with our practices for the long term. So like getting the opportunity to do that and affect real change has just like been such a joy to us too.
Yeah. Got you. Okay. Yeah. I meant more like, freedom as in like your creativity, you know what I mean? Not so much like, oh, I have to work 9 to this and I have to fly here, I have to do 100%. That.
And yes, that 100%. Yeah. Because when there's a material that I know works better and I feel like is, like to be able to pick the materials for our team in office and, the freedom. Yeah. All of that is definitely something that's been wonderful about being business owners.
Yeah. No doubt.
I think that's how life is a little bit, right? You're going to go through seasons all the time. Like some seasons are going to be like, it's a little bit easier, we can do something. And then some seasons you're like, oh my gosh, I'm down. We got to work all the time, talk about work, do everything. And then until we can, who knows how long that might take. And then, you go back up, and then that's good though. But I'm very, very, very like excited for you guys to see whenever I ever visit, when I go visit Austin, and then see like you guys, I'm going to be like, oh my God, it's the 13th practice that they opened up. Look at that. Oh, geez, Tim's gonna be like, remember when I told you we weren't making as much? We're making way more now. Like, I don't even know what to.
Yeah.
No, but awesome, guys. Thank you so much for being on. If anybody has any questions or concerns or anything like that, where can they find you?
Yeah, probably the easiest way would be just to reach out to info@kidstoothteam.com. info@kidstoothteam.com, and our director of first impressions was great about getting those messages passed on to us. Alex and I love answering questions, helping out. We're very open book. I mean, I think that when the ocean rises, all the boats in the ocean rise. So I'm more than happy to talk with anybody, tell them everything I know. I don't care if you're opening a practice next to us. We're about furthering dentistry, helping the kids out. And so, happy to help anybody in any way.
Gotcha. Awesome. So guys, that's all going to be in the show notes below. Definitely go in the show notes below, reach out to Alexandra and Tim and pick their brain a little bit more. And guys, thank you so much for being with us. It was a pleasure, and we'll hear from you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.